overproduction. So they have also they said that the government was compelling the hand sanitizer, obviously because hand sanitizer was only the solution for treating the COVID actually. So it was a preventive measure. So that is why he emphasized on hand sanitizer, and even the arnica albicum was only the drug available, homeopathic medicines was available because which are the proving safety, efficacy also have been as per the literature. So that arnica albicum was given the main priority for all homeopathic industry. That was the reason that this arnica albicum was even the government of in Sikkim. They also issued a directive to all other state licensing authority and that the arnica albicum can be allowed for as a prophylactic use for the COVID situation. So that was the thing where the government has also come forward, especially the government of Sikkim. We have a letter here to Sikkim. And then he showed them data. But he was talking about some mother tincture. Mother tincture was obviously, it was a essential preparation for starting any medicine. So mother tincture was not available, but even then they have coped up with the situation. Then they talk about the product proposed to develop the nosotes and sarcodes. Nosotes and sarcodes being a biological preparation when there is no pharmacopoeia, even research cannot be stopped actually. Research can easily be started. And I tell to Dr. Bhar that at least you can start a research, but at the same time, government of India cannot compromise on quality, safety, efficacy. They have to justify the data, they have to demonstrate the safety and efficacy of nosotes and cosotes. Otherwise, nosotes and cosotes are also be there to make no problem. Then Dr. Nishant Jain, who has given the industrial experience, he said that homeopathic approach in epidemic was only the prophylactic use. Obviously, homeopathic medicines which have been used in the prophylactic use, and there has been a usefulness of the homeopathic medicine because arnica albicum was again the way that he can be the come forward and can be the better source of the homeopathic medicine. Then Dr. Srinivas Rao from the Ramakrishna Homeopathic Stores, he said that government should emphasize on the guidelines, clearances, and there should be DTB exclusively for the homeopathic quality. As Dr. Sastry just now actually told that now the government is already working on DTB, and perhaps in the present setup already there is a subcommittee under DTB who has made certain amendments, who has made certain recognition of other French pharmacopoeia, another pharmacopoeia which was not there. So already government is working, but only thing there has been some administrative issue whether DTB should go directly into the Ministry of Use or it should rest with the DCGI. So there is a administrative issue, and I think it has been resolved almost, and some new direction will come. So DTB is always come forward to help and to the facilitator and to help to the industry to make any amendment which may combat with any situation of the COVID-like situation and any situation. Then there we talk about some regulatory clearance from the government side and packaging clearance. Then there was some discussion about the price control. Presently the homeopathic medicines are not in the price control. But in future, if some situation will come forward, definitely our office will take up the matter to the NPPA. NPPA is the regulatory body who talks about the homeopathic control of the price. But control of the price has so many formulas. There is a number of things they ask the data. Based on that data only they can decide. But presently it is not there. But in future, if any industry people they come forward, we can forward their representation to the NPPA for consideration. Then he's talking about some discussion on how the best we can do for the PG courses and pharma management course and think tank. Already DTB has what I understand, there is a DTB, there is a subcommittee. This subcommittee that think even I am the part of the subcommittee, where we think, and there is a lot of industry stakeholders are also there. We have an entire think tank, how best we can move forward, how the homeopathic industry can have better level playing field. So then the last, Dr. Nitesh could not be joined from Wilmer because of the technical issue. And Dr. Nishant Tripathi is there. So we welcome to Nishant Tripathi also. And he talk about the hand sanitizer. He said hand sanitizer is only the choice for the homeopathic medicine. To emphasize on the whole and arsenica albicum and they said homeopathic demand upsurged because when there was no medicine, no vaccine was available, at that time the homeopathic medicine only, the effective medicine or only the medicine which can be provided to the patient. That is why the homeopathic upsurge has been happened as he demonstrated, and at that time the homeopathic medicine was available. So these are my views and my so I think it was a very good discussion and very during the COVID situation was very happened well, and how they go up during the COVID, and it was happened very well. Thank you, sir.
Just I have only one point. Discussion of DTAB and Dr. Mila. Let us understand one very peculiar thing which we usually don't connote with. In 1940, when the Drug Act was made, there were few things which were given parenterally. If you look at the modern scientific literature, something which was given parenterally for the first time was a tincture. Okay. So if you look at our ASU drugs are not allowed for parental administration. The categories were two. It is not the system, please understand. It was a scientific approach. Many times we fail to appreciate the pioneers. We go by contemporary understandings. The pioneers are pioneers always. Sushruta was pioneer in surgery. He may not be the father of modern surgery, but he was the father of surgery. Similarly, the one who envisaged this act understood that there are two categories. One can be given through parental route, one which cannot be. That's how it has been done. Another example I'll give you. If you look at the chapter 3, which is imports, we don't have chapter 4 as exports. Any idea why? Because in 1940, nobody bothered. Till IDPL was established in India, nobody thought India can produce a drug. And today you are third and fourth because of COVID and pharma industry. That's how the genesis and metamorphosis happens. So they were imported. So there were similarities. One is parenteral administration, the other one is imports. And today also you don't have any imports of ASU drugs because they are being exported. But still you don't have export chapter. These are few things probably we prompted to have different boards. And now anyway it's good. The minutes have been circulated, and the Minister of Health has written to us that it is very clear this will be part of ASU DTAB. And we got the letter last week and we are circulating it to everybody. Thank you.
We are going to start the next session here. Yes, have seats in the session.